Before we start this video, I must put out a trigger warning on this video. Some of the things that I talk about in this video are personal to me, but it may trigger other people off. If you find triggering subjects hard to deal with, please do not watch this video. Thank you. So, good afternoon everyone. Currently Monday, and I'm doing this a day early from release. There are reasons behind it, which we will get into. Now, the subject of today's video, of the second one of the mini-series, is to talk about how I was diagnosed with PTSD. For some of those things to happen, I have to give some context to certain things. And some of those things other people may find triggering with what I'm saying. I don't mean to, but I will try and give a warning as and when I talk about those things. So, what I'm going to do is start off on the easiest part. Bear in mind, I have no issues talking about this right now. If I found it difficult, I would not be doing this video. I want to let you guys involved in this, or I wouldn't even say involved in this, let you guys know about what I go through on a daily basis. But also, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and carry on following the channel. It is really appreciative, and you will see why as we go along. So, first subject, medication that I'm on. Well, last year I was put on some brand new medication after years of being told, just after I was diagnosed with PTSD thanks to trauma therapy with that amazing charity in Manchester. Again, I've got something planned for that one as well, but that's more soon. I'd always been put down that I was depressed and I had serious mental health conditions, but I was never tried. I never tested for PTSD. So when the results came back that I was on PTSD, it made a bit confusing me, but it made more sense. And that way, myself and my new doctor managed to find some medications which work for me, because I've tried every medication over the years. It's either haven't worked or it sent me worse. This is why a medicated way of doing things sometimes gives that extra support, but the majority has to come from up here. Hence why I can speak to you guys about it now. So first on the line, we have opramazole. Is it up? Yep. That is to stop me vomiting from taking this combination. Then we have proparabolol, 80 mg per day. Take those 2 times a day. That's to help me when I overload, but it also helps keep me calm. That is the essentials of it for me. Other people, and there are other uses for it as well. So I need to stress that as well. And then we have, and I hate these. I cannot tell you, I hate these so much. I am on half the daily recommended intake of these, and it knocks me sometimes. And that is venlafaxine, 75 ml, twice a day. Yeah. That one's the thing which keeps me sane. That's, as I call it, my PTSD medication. It also helps with other things as well. So, how did I get, and why did I get diagnosed with PTSD? The next few things which I talk about may trigger people. When I get to certain words, I will cover my mouth, okay? And I will go silent as missing those words out. But you can probably fill in the details as we go along. So it started when I went to live in Wolverhampton. And one day, got down to the pub. I got wage, gone down to the pub. Went in there, had a drink. Person starts to chat me up. Oh, flattered, age of 19. Who wouldn't be? And invited me over a few drinks. And I said, yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, I'll have a few drinks. Didn't get even remotely drunk, just merry, but remotely drunk. Was completely in control of everything. He asked me, did I want to stay the night? And I said, yeah. The following morning, bear in mind, this was sort of early to midsummer between those two times. I woke up in a very distressed state, let's say. But I'm being really good right now because it's had a lot worse. My reaction was, get off me. And he said, what are you going to do? And I said, if you don't, I'm leaving here and I'm telling the police. And he can go. I then snuck out when he fell off back off sleep again. Went back home. I done what everybody else would normally do in that situation: panic, cry. You get in the most extreme hot bath, burst into tears. On the night time, a friend at the time, he was living in the opposite block of flats of me, Wolverhampton. I went to go have a call, said it's okay if I quickly come round and he'd talk to you about something. Yeah, come on. And here, when I told him, in a state, in tears, he just looked at me, grinned, and said, oh, whatever you hate, you're going to get that a lot for you when you grow up. Me didn't know what to do. I then went quiet for quite a few years. The next time anything happened, it was about a year or so later, and I had moved out of Wolverhampton at that point. I came back up to see a mate. Another mate of mine said, do you want to come out for the night out? Go to the party. Oh yeah, where's this party? And he told me. He goes, well, as long as you stay with me, that's fine. Long story short, that was 6 weeks of absolute mental trauma. I was sweet and innocent, and I take my side on that. Yeah, I was sweet and innocent. And I was coerced into doing something, well, let's just say, corn-like. But the word houseboy came to mind, unpaid and stuff like that, and I'd been promised 150 quid a week. Yeah. I didn't drive, couldn't escape, but I was watched all the time. And it turns out I was being exploited. How do I know that? That's to come. And the third massive thing which really got me. I have mentioned to you guys before that my past jobs has been a bit weird, to say the least. The third time, and I do have witnesses to this who can back me up, and now I have all the evidence in my emails and downloaded stuff which I said to them they had to send me. Well, I was training up to be a team leader shift runner with a multinational fast food chain. And let's just say that in front of a customer, one of the people who was supposed to be training us up from a different store, he came up and quite literally, wow, just very inappropriate in front of a customer. Now, what are you going to do that? You're going to say something in front of this customer or not? No, don't say anything. Act professional. The look on the customer's face was just shock and bemusement. And the customer actually turned around and said, I hope you can report that. I said, oh, don't worry, I will be doing. Then this is when I'm trained up to be a team leader shift runner. And I literally finished the test. I got one of the other staff to come through. I went up to this person and I said, if you're going to do that, at least invite me out on a date. My head flipped because I didn't know what to say or do. And one of the other managers who was in help us that night, who I will, like I said, I will not mention names. That's not my deal. Okay. He actually took me outside and goes, come on, Dan, what's going on? And I told him. And he was completely in disbelief because this other person had a girlfriend and all this. And then I finished my shift that night, went home and got absolutely blottoed, you could say, because it really had affected me that much. And I was at work at 6 o'clock in the morning to open up. I was actually 5 minutes late, walked in because I had the keys, apologised profusely, and my duty manager turned around and said, I can smell alcohol on your breath. And I literally burst into tears, goes, yeah, it would have helped if I wasn't basically being abused yesterday. So assaulted yesterday. And she just stood there in bemusement. He said, right, do you want to make something? Because of course I do. Because this is really affecting me. Oh, you can't do that. You've got to remember what you're working for. As in being team leader, shift runner. We've got onto that stage. I thought, right, okay. What I found afterwards is our unit manager had trained this other person out. Anyway, I had turned around, made the statement, of course had to go to her office. Investigation started. And long story short, all I will say is that I had a massive breakdown in the early July. Came off work. Couldn't even look or speak to anyone. Even my friends who were there, they were ringing me, messaging me saying what's going on, and I just couldn't speak. When I told them, they were fuming. They were absolutely fuming. And at the time I was being harassed on TikTok. Again, this is another story to come into at a later date, why I came off TikTok for officially. Again, abuse, harassment, and people thinking that because you don't say much, because you come across as weak, because you don't have anybody around you, they can get away with murder. Oh, hell no. Anyway, I digress. So the police came around. I was getting more and more abuse on TikTok, abusive messages. I was deleting the person, blocking the person, everything. And they said, well, why are you off work for? And I told them, oh, we've not had a report like that. We'll go and have a word with them. Because, yeah, but I don't want to cause any more trouble. But of course, me, didn't want any more hassle anyway. But they went down, these two police officers, I speak to the unit manager, and the unit manager apparently turned around and said, from what the police told me, nothing happened. There's no evidence. So even though found on CCTV, which is what officially kick-started the investigation off as well, not just my statement, that done, suddenly missing. The statement, all the emails say that I had done all this, that I had confirmed all this. Yes, this is the person who was investigating, has seen the CCTV evidence, and yes, confirmed, yes, something did happen, yes, it was FA, that happened. This is probably why I will never work for a multinational company then. It's not worth it. No. In my experience, and it has left a really bad taste in my mouth, in my experience, it's too much sometimes. It really is. So those really are the 3 times which has caused my PTSD. There's a 4th which I'm not allowed to talk about because of all other people I can't do. Anyway, I moved and I started to look to try and get some help because I was going worse. And this was over 2 years later, because it never eludes you. And this is why We Are Survivors Manchester came at just the right time. And I will be ever, forever grateful to them, because it's just something which has saved me. Something while I'm on those medications now, which I showed you at the beginning. But the horrible thing is when people make a laugh and a joke about PTSD. It's not a laugh and a joke. PTSD is because you do go through something actually physically and mentally traumatic. Queuing for a roller coaster that breaks down is not gives you PTSD, like was joked about. And no, I still have not forgotten about that. Funny about that as well, I tried to arrange for the person who said that to come and see me while I was in London last year, so we could talk about it. Just genuinely talk about it. No anything from my behalf. So their fans and, well, their subscribers and you guys could see that there was no malice, or trying to be no malice. That person never got back to me. We're now in almost July the following year. Again, this is another reason why when some people in the coastal community say, oh, we know everything, we know this, we know that, we know the other. Nah, don't. Yeah. But again, that's another video topic. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I am going to end it here on this one because it's been a bit of a one. Like I said, I don't mind talking about it. I have no issues talking about it. I am sorry to everyone if you've watched this and it has triggered you in any way whatsoever. It was never meant to be. So yeah. So yeah, next time, hopefully a brighter story on who I am. Anyway, love you, leave you. Bye for now.